If you are doing any of this 8 thing, let me tell you, you are being controlled. Shalom, beautiful soul. I am Vithika. Welcome to my channel, Divine Healing. Today I will tell you how you are controlled by your own false ego self. Yes, there is a self of you, which is the ego self of you. And this false version of you controls you. And you don't even know, you're not even aware how it is controlling you. What you see yourself doing certain act is not you, not your authentic self, your ego self, and it is controlling you. And it is high time to take it back. But before that, let's see what are these 8 things. If you're doing, that means you're controlled. Number 1, you are easily triggered. People will easily trigger you. Yes. Someone will tell you something about you and you will be triggered. Like, oh, yeah. How can they say this to me? You're triggered because the ego self is hurt. Your authentic self will take it as a bullshit and like what they are saying. But the ego self, it doesn't want to let it go if someone triggers you. And this identity, the ego self, will always try to hit back if you're triggered by somebody. Just imagine your authentic self, who knows exactly who you are. And even if people are telling a lot of things, people are triggering, it will not take trigger because that's your authentic self. It knows exactly how you are. But the ego self will make you trigger. So when you're triggered every time, remember, this is your ego self working and controlling you. Number 2, when your ego self controls you, you blame others for your own problem. Yes, that's true. Authentic self always take charge of whatever is happening in life and work accordingly. Ego self, your ego version, will always blame others for your own problem. Because it will never accept. Your ego self will never let you accept that my problem is my problem. People are causing it because it is making me learn something in life. That's the authentic self work. That's how authentic self treats you, guides you, your higher self. But your ego self will be like, your problem, whatever problem you're facing, it is there. It is because of them. So this is how your ego self is controlling you. Number 3, when you are controlled by your ego self, you always need to prove yourself. You always prove yourself to people. And you have to be right all the time. This is ego. This is your ego. Everything you do, you will prove. You will try to prove it to people. See, what am I doing? These are the facts, these are the things. You will always prove it. And you will prove it until you prove that you are right. This is the ego self controlling you. Authentic self be like, I don't need to prove anything. I know what it is. Period. Number 4, when your ego self controls you, you are driven by external validations. The person in you who always look for external validation is that version called the ego version. The person in you who don't look for validation outside is your authentic self. So if you're somebody who is constantly looking for validation, you are driven by your ego. Number 5, your ego self will always keep you in survival mode. As if you're surviving in this life, as if you've forgotten living, always surviving of all the situations. This is the work of ego self, keeping you in survival mode. The same thing back and back, loop and loop. Your authentic self will let you live life, will teach you. If you have forgotten living life, your higher self will tell you it's time to live life. Number 6, your ego self, if it is controlling you, you are always busy and you are never at peace. You feel like you will always have to do work to do something in life. So it will always keep busy. It will always tell you, you're not working, you will fail. You're not working, you will not achieve. You're not working. It will make you a robot. Your ego self makes you a robot and always keep you busy. It will make you, that's what I told you, survival mode. It will make you forget about living life. And you will never be in peace. You are controlled by your ego self. Understand this segregation between a version of you, your authentic and your ego self. This is what ego self do with you and you don't even know it. Number 7, When ego self control you, you always force things to work in life. You will force it until it is done. Sometimes things are not done by force, but ego be like, I'll put so much pressure, I'll put so much force to make it done. Because that churn the ego, that boost the ego. Ego feels good about it. So if this is happening with you, trust me, you are that amazing being of light. You must not be controlled by the ego self. You must be guided by your higher or authentic self. Moving on to the last point, number 8. But before that, I would appreciate if you subscribe this channel and like this video. I post videos every Monday to Friday. Some of the other content will surely help you out. And you would love to binge watch my content. Also, if you need any help regarding your mental health or any issues that you're facing in life, you can book a session with me one-on-one. You will find the details in the description to check it out. Now, number 8. Your ego self controls you in a way that all your emotions will depend upon what is happening outside. All your emotions, anger, happiness, jealousy, fun, whatever your emotions are, it will always be something external happening in the world, happening in your country, happening in your city, and you're always driven by that. That is your ego self. And your higher self, in your authentic self, is whatever happening inside, it will be driven by that. If it is not in peace inside, your higher self will always guide you how to come into peace. But if your every emotions is about what others are doing, what others are telling you, what happening in the world, what happening in your country, in your state, and you're always invested in that, your ego self is controlling you. Your ego self is pulling you in that zone because all your emotions are controlled by your ego self. And it will make you do everything that is not good for your higher self. So this is how our ego self, we have two versions, ego self and an authentic self. This ego self. So when we judge people now sometimes doing wrong things or all these things that I've discussed, it is mostly people are driven by their ego self. So that's why we say don't judge people, because they don't even know, they are not even aware that they have been driven by a self, which is the ego self. That was today's video. Do leave a comment below. Subscribe this channel. If you need help, you can book a session. All the details are in the description. Do check it out. I will see you guys in the next video. Till then, take care.